Hey guys, it's Jenna. Welcome back to my channel today. I'm back from my trip to Greece and I actually got a super exciting package in the mail that I ordered from Charlotte Tilbury, and this is the new holiday palette that's come in this gorgeous gift box. So we're going to talk all about the Smoky Eyes Are Forever holiday palette from Charlotte Tilbury. I'm super excited because this is a palette I look forward to every single year, so I'm going to let you guys know if this is worth your money or not. So stay tuned. Alright guys, welcome back. So in today's video, I'm going to be going over the Charlotte Tilbury Holiday Palette. This is a palette, like I said, that I look forward to every single year. She puts out some amazing formulations, but the holiday palettes are ones that showcase a lot of what she can do, and this palette to me is one that features a new formulation that I haven't really seen before. I don't think it's been in any other palettes in the past. So let's get started with the gift box that it comes in. Now, Charlotte Tilbury has this gift box option. You do have to spend a certain amount of money for it to be included in your order, or you can add it on to any order if you want to just kind of spruce up the packaging. If you're gifting a Charlotte Tilbury item to somebody or something like that, it's super, super bougie, as you can see, and it just has her logoing there. And it's a very durable box. You can actually recycle this if you want for other storage things in your house. Now inside the box, of course, you see the palette on the inside, which has very similar outer packaging to other palettes she's done. It's this long, horizontal, kind of skinny outer packaging. Typically she does quads that are square, or she's done some smaller palettes. The palette on the inside is this one. This is the Smoky Eyes Are Forever palette, her holiday 2021 edition for her collection. You can see here that all the shades are grouped in like looks, like I said. So the first one is Love Eyes, the second one is Power Eyes, which I am wearing today, and we'll talk about that. We also have Happy Eyes and we have Confident Eyes. So you can see here it's super easy to visualize looks, and Charlotte does a good job of that across the board. She's even done that with her permanent quads and other palettes that she's released. So it's very user-friendly. More specs on the eyeshadow palette here. It's an 18-month shelf life. It is made in Italy. This is a palette where some shades do have carmine as an ingredient, so it is not a vegan palette, just for those of you guys that are interested in knowing that. She has Leaping Bunny certification as of this year. Here is the palette on the inside. It's the same reflective packaging style that she's done in the past. Every single holiday palette that I have seen is just like that incredible glitzy, like luxury outer packaging vibe. And this year it also comes with one of these little brushes. So that is something new. I haven't seen this yet in a holiday release just standard, but this is one of her blending brushes. And I do find her brushes work really well with her palettes. Inside the palette here, Charlotte says there are 12 magical shades. You know that she loves to describe her palettes a certain way, and I'm a sucker for how she sells her items. I don't know about you, but not only does she have amazing descriptions and kind of over-the-top glam vibes when she sells her products to you, but I do feel like the majority of her products actually perform as well, so there is some beef to that little promise. It actually does follow through at the end of the day. So Charlotte says that this palette has 6 formulations, magical mattes, which she says can be used wet or dry. We have seen this in her previous holiday palettes as well, that you can use some of these formulations wet or dry. This is something relatively new to the Charlotte Tilbury brand, and that actually adds some more versatility to how you can use these looks. When you do use the mattes dry, they're very nice and easy to blend, but when you add a wet brush to those mattes, they sort of have like a cream-like feel. So it really is a nice versatile shade that's included in a lot of these trios. Then she says that there are metallic shades that have pearl to them, and there's some shimmer shades. Then we have the fluid metals. The fluid metals are super interesting. This is an example here of a fluid metal. It's just very creamy and has quite a bit of slip to it, but the impact of shimmer is insane. So it's something that I'm really excited to continue to test. This is a first impressions video as I've only tested out one look out of the 4, but this is definitely a really interesting formulation this year. This palette is 75 American dollars or 95 Canadian dollars. For those of you guys wondering if it's coming to Sephora, typically it does. It's usually like 1 week or earlier from the launch date from her website. So it will be coming to Sephora, hopefully in time for the VIB sale. Now let's talk about the look I created today, which is Power Eyes. Power Eyes is a beautiful greeny gold. You can see how absolutely stunning it looks against brown eyes, which are my eyes. You know, naturally. All over the lid I went in with the Prime shade, which is the furthest left shade in the trio. She does group them in order of how you're supposed to use them, but you can obviously go off grid if you like. You don't have to do the playbook of how to work with these shades. Just do whatever you want and whatever really makes your heart happy. This is a beautiful matte. It's one of those magical mattes that has the dry capability and the wet capability. I actually used it dry today just so I could see how it would look as a first impression, just completely dry, and it does blend out beautifully. It builds up beautifully. It's incredibly soft, and it's very reminiscent of the mattes that I've seen in other holiday palettes. No fallout with this shade either, which is a really good start. Now going over to the next shade, which is Enhance, this is a super beautiful sparkly green. Now it actually looks quite bright in pan, and when you actually layer it over top of that first shade, it does tend to translate deeper. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you want more of that green to pop, you could just do some concealer over top to really bring that color to life, or you can just start with the matte over on this side, which is part of the Love Eyes trio, just to get more of that bright green to pop through. But for me and my preferences today, I just wanted to do the look as she instructed. So you can see here that it adds that beautiful greeny gold on top of that matte. This is a very versatile shade. You don't have to use a specific brush for this either. I used a BK Beauty brush for this step, which is a synthetic brush. There's also brushes I've used with Charlotte's shades like Refer, which is natural hair, Wing Goss, which is natural hair. All of those brushes seem to do a good job with translating pigment onto the lid with Charlotte's formulations. So I like that you don't have to be super picky with the tools that you use to make the best result on your eye. Next, I went in with the Smoke shade. This is over here. Here's what I will say. Once you use these two together, the Smoke shade at the end doesn't really pop as much. That's something that I noticed. It sort of blends into the look a little bit. And I use the Smoke shade to kind of go in the outer corner of the lid. You can also bring it underneath the eye if you would like. But for me, I just found that I had to add a little bit of this matte over here. So because there wasn't too much distinction between the Smoke shade and the other two that I used, I simply added a little bit of this matte at the very end, a touch of it, which is a darker matte to bring a little bit more smokiness to the look. So that's something also I did kind of go off grid when I was working with this Power Eyes, because at that point there just wasn't too much distinction, and that was something I felt like I needed just to add a little bit more smokiness. So if I would be nitpicky about this particular trio, I think I would have wanted this shade to have a little bit more depth to it so that it does stand out by itself if you do use the trio as instructed. But otherwise, I don't think it's necessarily something that is a deal breaker by any means. It's just like a preference thing as I worked with this particular look. Overall though, they swatch super beautifully. They're very consistent across the board, so I'm really excited to test the rest of the looks out and let you guys know a very final, thorough review once every single shade is tested. But this is a very beautiful palette this year. Charlotte does seem to get knocked a ton for using pinks and browns and golds in a lot of her palettes. For instance, last year's Bejewelled Eyes to Hypnotize, which is still one of my absolute favorite palettes, is one where she uses shades she is comfortable with, or what the population of, you know, crazy makeup lovers like myself see when it comes to Charlotte Tilbury. But the reality is these are shades that sell, plain and simple. Browns, pinks, and golds are never boring to me. I don't know about you guys, but I love those shades, and this is a palette that's absolutely stunning as well. But the Smoky Eyes, if you are a fan of the holiday palettes, you're not going to regret getting this one as well. Comparison-wise, I'll show you a couple pictures of the other instant eye palettes in my collection. You can see Bejewelled Eyes to Hypnotize does not have any similar shades at all, so if you do have last holiday's palette, you'll be totally fine. Same with the Instant Eye Pillow Talk Extension Palette. This is also one that doesn't have any similar shades really, and I do think that the formulations in the Instant Eye Pillow Talk palette are a little bit different. They don't have the same versatility in the variety of formulas like the Smoky Eyes Are Forever palette does. So overall, I think this is a beautiful collection from Charlotte for holiday. I think the versatility is there compared to some other palettes that she's done. She's really branched and done 4 unique looks that actually are very different from each other. We don't have just variations of pink or variations of gold. We have a pink like Lovey look. We have a Power Eyes green gold look. We have cranberry with some gold element look. And then we also have this one here, which is quite smoky. And it has an interesting prime shade, which is that gorgeous kind of shimmery pink. So very excited to keep testing this, guys. Do let me know your thoughts. Is this on your wish list? I do think that the packaging is consistent. That fluid metal formulation is super cool and definitely something different from her. And I like how this look turned out. I think it was super easy. It's very holiday, very smoky, and definitely something that I'm excited about. Charlotte also has a couple quads coming out this holiday, and I'm excited to review those as well. I will also be reviewing and unboxing her advent calendar this year, so stay tuned for that as well. Until my next one, guys, let me know your thoughts on this brand new holiday palette from Charlotte, and we'll talk soon. Bye, guys!